Well, the Cyclones are nearing the end of their signing period, have almost a full roster, and how can you not be excited about the guy we have on the screen right now? Because Zack Andrusiak, one of the elite goal scorers in all of the ECHL, is coming back for a third year here in Cincinnati. Drews, we'll talk a little bit more about that, but first, welcome back. Excited to see your face on this screen, as I know the fans are. Take me through, I guess, first on just kind of the lay low part of life, the summer, right? When you're not on the ice every single day, what have you been doing to keep busy here as the weather's been a little warmer?
Honestly, it's flown by. It's pretty crazy to think that it's September already. Had a pretty busy summer. It just went on a couple trips. We had a few weddings to go to from some friends, and been trying to do some fishing and golfing, and just between training and everything. And my girlfriend and I bought a house last spring, so doing stuff around the house and getting our yard all set up and everything. It's been super busy, but super exciting, and it's flown by.
Anybody that has watched some of our interviews before, whether it be the podcast, which we're in that room, or even the radio interviews, we know you and your girlfriend. You mentioned you guys just got a house. You have your golden retriever Dodger. So you mentioned building the yard. Or was it centered around Dodger, or were there some other things added?
I actually, this one's funny. People like this. I actually got my way and was able to. I'm in the process of completing. I got my turf in the mail today. Actually, it just got shipped in. I'm building a putting green in my backyard in the one spot. And then we did. I actually completely sanded our entire deck and redid our whole deck, stained it and stuff, and we got a really nice patio set out there, and like a fire pit and stuff, and then in the backyard we built some flower beds and that kind of thing, and our next thing is working on the grass, because it's not the greatest, but
I remember, so I referenced this podcast room, and one of the things that you said to me is how you would take, and forgive me, it's been a few months since we did it, but I think it was hundreds of shots a day, maybe outside in the garage or in the driveway or whatever, practicing your shot. Are you in this new home? I mean, do you have a setup to do that, or are you just doing it on the ice?
not at my house, but at my girlfriend's parents' house. They live on like sort of an acreage. So we built actually like a backstop out of like wood and stuff, and some big posts, and I hang like a shooting tarp from it. It's like a shooter tutor with like targets and stuff, and so I'm able to shoot there. So it's nice that I have that set up accessible to me, and it's just a short drive from our house to go to and stuff. So it's really nice to have that.
Yeah, I know fans are going to want us to talk a little bit of hockey. Let me ask you, I guess, one more thing on this, just kind of up to date with you. Because so many, I mean, you know this, you're in that locker room. Like, so many of the guys are from Ontario, so many guys are on the East Coast. We don't talk to a lot of guys out in Western Canada. So, I mean, you mentioned fishing, golfing, but you also said you went on a couple of, you were able to go to a couple of weddings, go on a couple of trips. What's some fun things you've been doing away from the house?
We just got back this past weekend. We went to the Oregon coast. So that was lots of fun. My girlfriend and my dog and I, we did a little camping slash hotel Airbnb trip. So that was lots of fun. We had never been on the Oregon coast before. We've been to California and the coast in Canada here and stuff. So it was really cool. We've heard a lot about it, and we've known some people that have gone there. So we really wanted to check it out. So that was tons of fun. We spent a week driving down and just checking it out and exploring all the different beaches and all the different spots and stuff. And we had some really nice weather, so that was lots of fun. Then I was able to go. I took my dad to Vancouver for see our Saskatchewan Roughriders play the football in BC, and then that I didn't even realize, but the Blue Jays were in Seattle that weekend. So on Sunday it was a day game. So I was like, oh geez, we could literally go to the game and come home in the same day, and we'd be fine, because Seattle's only about 6.5 hour drive from here. And so I called him, and he's like, oh yeah, of course. So I got tickets, and we were luckily able to go see the Blue Jays play and stuff. he hasn't seen the Blue Jays play since he was a kid, and he's a Blue Jays fan. So that was really good for him to be able to see them and that kind of thing, and just be back. I played junior in Seattle, so I went to a lot of ball games there, and so it was fun to be back there and go to a game there again, and but yeah, no, it turned out actually that Taylor Swift was there the same weekend in Seattle. So it was absolute chaos in the city. We showed up to the border at 6 a.m. from Vancouver thinking that we would get through early. We waited for 2 hours at the border because there were so many people going, not only for the Blue Jays in town, but the Taylor Swift concert. And it was insane. As we were driving down, I checked ticket prices just out of curiosity, and it was $1,200 to sit at, I always call it CenturyLink, but it's Lumen Field now where the Seahawks play. And it was to sit in the nosebleeds up in the section 300 behind the stage. So you wouldn't even see her. You're just in the stage. And I was like, holy cow. And yeah, it was absolute chaos. So it was kind of a cool atmosphere to be around, but it was a lot too at the same time. And so, yeah, that was lots of fun, but just, yeah, no. And then doing lots of trips just around the Okanagan where I live and stuff, going camping and going hiking and stuff, and just enjoying the summer.
Dude, I was really lucky because I was out of town like when Taylor Swift was in Cincinnati, but Viver, as you know, lives around town, and he was telling me just the chaos and the ticket prices you were saying. I think he literally, the day that we're recording this, I was talking to him today about Taylor Swift, and because it just came up, and he said something like he ran into a group of 5 people that said that they ended up paying, or what was it? It was 5 people. The one guy paid for 3 of the tickets. And he said by the time he paid for the tickets, food for that day, the souvenirs, merchandise, that he was like $9,000 in the hole.
Oh, I believe it, because even like hotels in Seattle that night, like downtown, where like the average price was like over $1,000 for a hotel. Like like if you're paying $1,000 for a ticket, $1,000 for a hotel, and then, like you said, the travel and food and everything, parking out to park 2 blocks away from the stadium was $80.
Oh man,
To park next to the stadium was $110. I've never seen anything like it before. It was because like I said, I've been to some Seahawk games there when I was playing junior there, and Seahawk games are nuts. They sell out every game, and it's no different than the Bengals, right? And everybody knows how expensive parking for those games are. Yeah. And they're not even like, that's nothing even close to what this concert was like.
Yeah, I can't imagine, like, especially over the last couple of years, you see inflation. So you see, like, I've noticed parking has gone up at a lot of the arenas that I've gone to.
Yeah.
Going back to Philadelphia, I mean, there used to be a $10 parking lot. Now the cheapest is 20. The average cost is like 30 to 40. But like 110, not that we should be staying on this subject, but like $110 to park your car.
Yeah, well, we, just for reference, we parked 2 miles away from the baseball stadium, which the baseball stadium's right next to the football, and it was still $25 and considered event parking.
2 miles, like
yeah.
Thank goodness. I guess you and your dad were in a walking mood, thankfully.
Oh yeah, it was a beautiful day. It was super sunny and super nice, and you're able to the stadiums are right down on the water, so you're able to walk along the ocean and stuff, and just through the market and everything, and it's super nice down there. So, and the good part is we by the time we walked all the way down there, we were kind of out of the whole traffic to drive out of town and get out of town a little bit easier.
Yeah, man, I even like talking to you now, and I haven't talked to you in months, I feel like we could go on an hour about this, just about like this kind of stuff, because I know you and I are both going to events. I love the adventurous the adventures that you have, and that your small family now has here in the summer. But I do want to shift gears to hockey at the end of the day, man. I know we're going to miss this warm weather, which, like you even said earlier, it's hard to believe it's September right now. But nonetheless, here we are. Hockey's going to start soon. You're going to be here in about a month. Cyclones are getting ready to kick it off. And Bruce, I was just, for the heck of it, looking, and I kept hitting next on the all player stats for the ECHL, because I thought, how many guys did play last year? And I am at over 900. Now that includes goaltenders. And of course, this means, some guys only played a week or 2 weeks in the coast, but at the end of the day, nearly 1,000 different people laced up skates and played in an ECHL game at some point last season. And you had the 11th most goals of anybody in this entire league, 32 goals, well over a point per game season. Had you not taken the puck to the face, who knows? Obviously, there would have been more points. A little call up took you out for a couple of games. You are one of the elite goal scorers in this league. Where's your confidence in just coming back to this league, knowing what you can do here?
Yeah, no, for sure. Obviously, things have gone well since I've been in Cincinnati, and we got a great team there and great guys to play with, and a lot of very similar players are coming back again this year. So, it's a good spot for me, and things have gone well, and I'm just focusing on getting better all the time and getting better every day, and adding pieces to my game and trying to be the best player I can. And yeah, last year was obviously a great year, but want to build off of that and be even better and never be satisfied, and just try to keep excelling, and getting better every day is always the motto, right?
Right. I mean, you kind of segued me into something I was going to ask. Like you mentioned, look at all the guys that are re-signing. I mean, that's got to be exciting too. And I think it's exciting twofold, right? Because the team was so successful on the ice. And I know the kind of player you are. Like at the end of the day, as many goals as you score, it's a heck of a lot more fun when you're scoring to add to a lead or to go ahead. It's not so fun when you score the second goal and it's now you're down 6-2. So to be with a team that's just winning so much, right? Like winning is so fun. And I know that's got to be exciting to come back to, but also like the guys that you were winning with and the players that were helping you accumulate those points, they're back too. This has got to be a win-win situation.
Yeah, definitely. It's exciting, just obviously we had just a good group too, right? Like it's away from the rink and everything, we're a family and guys are super close and that kind of thing. And it's not very often that you can, in pro sports, you can keep many guys around, right? It's just the nature of the beast. And so it's really good to, be able to have a lot of guys come back and build off of what we did last year, and just continue to get better. And obviously last season didn't end the way we wanted it to. And so, we want to build and, add some new pieces to help us to get to where we want to be.
What, so talking about last season and, 32 goals, I've got the one in my head that sticks out, but for you, are there any goals like every year, man? You've scored a lot of big goals in junior hockey, talked about being in, the Western League earlier with the Seattle Thunderbirds, but, here, Idaho Steelheads. I don't know if like there's a goal from each year or goals from each year that you take with you. At least to me, I think, man, like there were so many highlight reels last year, but is there one that sticks out maybe above the rest that's like, man, that I was on cloud nine?
Yeah, I never really think about that too much, but I would say if you ask that now, one that would probably stick out is probably the game winner on New Year's Eve, in overtime. That was a pretty big goal. Obviously is a big win, and just to do it on New Year's Eve, it was a packed crowd and pretty electric in there after, and everybody was on cloud nine. So that was lots of fun, and that one I guess would stick out probably the most.
You were part of so many highlight moments, and one of them I'll ask you. I just asked Pistol Patrick Bellino, for those fans that didn't see, he has re-signed with the Cyclones. I just asked him, like, you are, and I will spoil this for our fans. To my knowledge, Zack Andrusiak is the final returnee that is signing with us this year. So the guys that we have signed that are back, add Andrusiak to the list, and then that's it from there. It's going to be all new faces the rest of the way, unless something drops in the 11th hour. So, Drews, I'll ask you as the last guy to talk about this. It's hard to put it into words. 19-0-2. It just never stopped. The winning never stopped. Finding ways to persevere. And there were a lot of games where you guys were tied late. A lot of games where you were down. You mentioned this group. Like, that has to be a moment that I think everybody on that team is going to keep with them.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like we talked about during the year last year when we were going on that, it was great teams always find a way to win and, be in games right till the end. And even if you're down, you find a way to get back into it and end up winning. And that's during that run, that's what we were able to do. And it was pretty special. And not many teams are able to do that ever, and so that run was really good. And it was obviously lots of fun. and hopefully we can, do the same sort of thing this year and get even better, and and just continue the momentum, and hopefully not run into any injury problems or guys missing problems like we did last year in postseason, and just keep the momentum and go on a better run.
I think you summed it up best, because one of the things I've talked with some of the guys about is just how after that streak ended, it was like, okay, that was unbelievable. We're always going to remember it. But it did kind of feel like the air sort of came out of the tires at that point. I just feel like the team never got as hot, which I mean, hey, it's pretty hard to be that hot. But, it did feel a little different. Drews, as we're getting to the end of our conversation, we're spending so much time about the other stuff. I don't want to keep you here too much longer. But one of the things that you mentioned is how you're trying to get better every day. And I think if I put myself in the shoes of an ECHL fan, I listen to this and say, how much better can this guy get? I mean, he's so damn good. So from your perspective, what are some of those things? I think as somebody who watches you play all the time, we know the points are there. So are you talking like, is it the other side? Is it the more well-roundedness? Do you think you can put up more points than what you did last year? It's really hard, I think, and you tell me right or wrong here, but I think as an individual, it can be very hard to make an internal criticism, to look at oneself and sit there and say, I know I'm maybe not as good at this as I want to be, or I need to do these things better. It's hard to hear that. And it's hard to tell yourself that. So sounds like you kind of have, what are the things you're looking at? How much better can you get? What are you trying to get better at?
Yeah, no, like you said, for me, it's pretty easy to, I would say I'm my biggest critic, and I always have been, and I mean, at the same time, as much as it helps me, it probably hurts me a little bit too, because sometimes I'm a little too hard on myself. But just having the mindset, you can never be satisfied, right? And even the greatest athletes in the world, the greatest business people in the world, they're never satisfied, right? They always want to push themselves farther ahead, and be better in all aspects. So like we talked about the shooting pucks, yeah, I have a good shot, but is it perfect? Is it the best it can be? No. And so just continuing on working on, and making the points that I am good at better, but also adding to my game, and trying to learn from, whether it's watching video of guys in the NHL at the top of their game, during doing certain things, or that kind of thing, and learning different things to do offensively, defensively, on special teams, just trying to round myself out to try and be the best I can be at everything the game has, whether it's skating or shooting or stick handling or making plays or defending, or anything, right? And that's the biggest thing, like until you're Connor McDavid or those guys, and even them, like that guy probably works 10 times harder than the average person too, and trying to always be better, right? Because he's not satisfied either. He obviously still hasn't won a Stanley Cup, so he's got goals too. And so I think that's the biggest thing, is you got to always have bigger goals, and never be satisfied, and just push yourself to want to be better, and whether that's me putting up more points this year, or just doing other things to help the team win more, that's what I want to do, and that's my goal for the season, and every season.
And I know the ultimate goal of every team is to win a championship. And I know that you, Zack Andrusiak, our latest player signing, hopefully a big piece to what will hopefully be the championship puzzle that the Cyclones look to solve here in 23-24. And again, a reminder, folks, because it's coming up soon, October 21st is first face-off. The Cyclones host the Wheeling Nailers. Yes, Zack Andrusiak has a few goals against those guys, including a hat trick in a Coney's jersey once upon a time. And you can see that game right here at Heritage Bank Center, Saturday, October 21st. Tickets on sale now at cycloneshockey.com. But again, Drews, latest signing. Buddy, I hope you enjoy the rest of your summer. I know we're down to just a couple of weeks. Thanks for making the time to talk here. And I'm sure we'll talk again come training camp.
Of course. Thank you.